Talk about a fried egg. I lasted about 5 minutes out there. I said, to heck with this. I'll do this in the morning. And I don't have any inside information. The lady that did it, she got in there. She made it happen.
And he doesn't shy away from opinion.
And I do enjoy drinking cold beer at ballparks. So if that makes me a baseball fan, then I'm a diehard baseball fan.
It's Hacker After Dark on 1010XL.
And a very good Tuesday evening to you, Jacksonville. It is Hacker After Dark, 1010XL, 92.5 FM with Dylan Denmark. The Hacker Ryan Green with you. Glad you are with us on a Tuesday night where the National Hockey League begins its regular season. Boy, that got here kind of quick, right? The NBA starts up in about 2 weeks. That also got here pretty quick. This is going to be a great time in the sports world with the NFL, college, the NBA, NHL. You got Major League Baseball postseason play going on. When the four major sports are all happening at once, doesn't happen often during the calendar year, but you get a couple of weeks right around this time. Boy, it's a great time in the world of sports. It's a great time for the Jacksonville Jaguars coming off that win over the Indianapolis Colts. They will get back to work tomorrow down at the Miller Electric Center. They will take off for London on Thursday as they get ready to play the Chicago Bears and the number 1 overall draft pick, Caleb Williams. Bears at 3-2, Jaguars at 1-4. But again, it's never too early to at least mention this, right? If the playoffs started today, the number 7 seed in the AFC has a record of 3-2. So as awful as the first month was, and it was awful here in Jacksonville, you're 2 games out of the final playoff spot. You're 1-4. The final playoff team right now would be 3-2. Translation, there's a ton of football to play. There's a lot that could happen. Jaguars need to get some wins, no question about that, and they'll try to get that started again against Chicago on Sunday, 9:30 kick. You'll hear the game right here on 1010XL. Coming up in right at the top of the 9 o'clock hour tonight, Demetrius Harvey of the Florida Times Union, Jacksonville.com, will join me to talk Jaguars and Bears. And later on in the 9 o'clock hour, Justin Mello of the Draft Network. Justin's one of my draft guys, but I wanted Justin on tonight to talk about the young Jaguars. Think about the youth movement on this team, the guys that made plays to win the game on Sunday. Brian Thomas Jr., obviously. Tank Bigsby, Brenton Strange, Ventrell Miller, Trayvon Walker, Cam Little, on down the line. So we're going to talk with Justin Mello of the Draft Network about the youth movement, the young Jaguars that really stood up in Sunday's win over the Indianapolis Colts. So a lot to do in the National Football League. We're also going to dive into a little college football. Barrett Sallee, the host of the Smothered and Covered College Football Podcast. You also hear Barrett on Sirius XM. I want to talk to Barrett about Florida, Tennessee. I also want to do kind of a mid-season report on Florida State and on Miami. Barrett joins me in less than 15 minutes, but we're going to start right there, a little college talk on a Tuesday night. Every night here on Hacker After Dark, we do bring you a big deal of the night. And Dylan Denmark, let's do that right now.
Time now for the big deal of the night.
What's the big deal?
What is the big deal?
No big deal.
It is a big deal.
On Hacker After Dark.
We'll get to Florida and Tennessee in one moment. 6 games in for both the Miami Hurricanes and the Florida State Seminoles. Time for a progress report, right? 6 games in, 6 games to go in the regular season. And they couldn't be any more different if they tried. With Miami, mission accomplished, right? 6-0. Have you played the toughest competition? No, you haven't. But you've won all of your games. And at the end of the day, that's all that matters. When you're in a Power 4 conference, you win all your games, you will be in the college football playoff. Has it been pretty for Miami? Nope, it hadn't, particularly in the last 2 weeks. Against Virginia Tech and against Cal. It's been far from pretty. But It's survive and advance in today's world in college football. You no longer need brownie points. Remember when it was the BCS, or even when it was a 4-team playoff to an extent? The Alliance, remember that one? You needed brownie points. You needed to run up the score on teams. You needed to do things to grab people's attention. Well, you don't really need to do that anymore with a 12-team playoff and the conference champion of each conference in the Power Four getting in. You need to survive and you need to advance. And Miami's done that. They survived Virginia Tech. That instant replay, the final play of the game, one of the craziest things you'll ever see, but Miami survived. Last week against Cal, 35-10, 3,000 miles away from home. And to come back and win that game, are you kidding me? Again, was it pretty? Nope. Will it get you brownie points? Nope. But you survive and you advance. And at 6-0, you can't be any better. So if you're a Miami fan, you should be pretty fired up about Mario Cristobal, Cam Ward, and what the Hurricanes have done. Florida State is the exact opposite. Probably the biggest disappointment in college football. Heck, I don't even think probably. They are the biggest disappointment in college football in 2024. From preseason top 10 to 1-5, ladies and gentlemen. 1-5. Including home losses to Boston College and Memphis. Losing to Georgia Tech and Ireland, getting blown out by SMU, and losing to Clemson this past Saturday. It's been a cluster, you-know-what. A dumpster fire of epic proportions. And I think Florida State is at the point now, because you see what they did against Clemson. They started playing a lot of young guys. Now, they played Brock Glenn out of necessity because DJU got hurt. But you saw him working in a lot of freshmen. It's about the future now. This is a lost season. End of the day, it's a lost season. Florida State fans, enjoy the next 6 games. Enjoy hanging out with your friends and tailgating or getting together at a sports bar or getting together at somebody's house and having a barbecue, and enjoy the fellowship and the camaraderie, because it's a lost season. You're not going 5-1 in the last 6 to make a bowl game. You have 6 games remaining in 2024. And then it's Mike Norvell's job starting that first weekend in December to figure out what on planet Earth happened and make sure it doesn't happen again in 2025. That's where Florida State is. That's the reality of the Seminole situation, 1-5 in their first 6 games. And that brings me to Florida. They will hit the halfway point on Saturday in Neyland Stadium. Say what you will about Billy Napier, and a lot of you have said it. A lot of you have been counting the hours or even the minutes till Billy Napier is fired. A lot of you have already begun the courting process for Lane Kiffin or Eli Drinkowitz. The noise in the system, right? The old famous Ron Zook phrase, the noise in the system. What's been at an all-time high surrounding Gator football? After that loss to Miami, and especially after the loss to A&M, Billy Napier could do no right. Everything he's done is wrong, and he's done. Gator fans, you've washed your hands with him. You're done. And that's all fine and well, except for one thing. They've won a couple of games. He hasn't lost the locker room. Far from it. Team is battling, man. They're playing hard. They go on the road in the conference. I know it's Mississippi State, but I don't care. It's a road SEC game. And they went into Starkville and beat a conference opponent by 17. Then you come home. You're an underdog to UCF. A lot of people picked UCF to win that game. A lot of people. And Florida dominates. Clearly dominated the first half. Ended up winning again by double digits. Wait a minute. Has a corner been turned Or do you chalk it up to simply being Mississippi State and UCF? Whatever it is, it has gone from 1-2 to all of a sudden 3-2. Remember at the beginning of the year, we all basically said we would take 7-5 in a heartbeat? Florida can very easily get to 6. 6 is without question within reason. I don't know if 7 is, but 6 definitely is. And if it's not 7-5, but if it's 6-6 in a bowl game, does that buy Billy Napier a 4th year? I don't know. But I don't think it's a surefire lock like some of you do. I thought it was after A&M. Because I thought the team wouldn't play hard for him. I was wrong. They played hard and they beat Mississippi State. They played even harder and beat UCF. Do I think they're going to beat Tennessee? No. Do I expect them to beat Tennessee? No. No one's going to pick them to win. I'm certainly not going to. But what happens if they do? And they don't even have to win. What happens if they keep it close? What happens if it's a 4th quarter game in Knoxville on a Saturday night at Neyland Stadium? Again, say what you will about Billy Napier. And you have. And I'm sure most of you will continue to. But in the interest of fairness, I'm going to tip my cap where it's due. The team hasn't quit. The team is still battling. The team has racked up a couple of victories, even when everybody in Gator Nation wants to throw Billy and that staff out the door. It's been impressive the last 2 weeks. What'll happen in Knoxville? Let's talk about it with Barrett Sallee, the host of the Smothered and Covered College Football Podcast. You also hear Barrett on Sirius XM. Barrett's covered the college football game for years. He's one of my favorites, and he joins me next on a Tuesday night in Jacksonville, Florida. Let's talk Gators. Let's talk Seminoles, Hurricanes, and more with Barrett Sallee next. Hacker After Dark, 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
Get inside the mind of Jags coach Doug Peterson.
I'd be lying if I said I didn't have butterflies.
Coach Speaks. Fridays at 4:05 on The Franchi Show.
I want to win.
Brought to you by Renewal by Anderson. Custom windows and doors on 1010XL.
Hacker here, and I can't believe it. 100 pounds gone. 6 months ago, I never would have dreamed this was possible. I'm going to say it again because it feels so good. I've dropped 100 pounds thanks to Awaken 180 weight loss. To put that in perspective, I've taken roughly 10 inches off my waist. I'm down from a XXX to an XL, and I did it all in slightly over 6 months. It's not just about the number on the scale. It's also about getting my life back, playing with my son, and being more physically active. Now, we're celebrating big time. I'm hosting an exclusive football watch party to celebrate this huge milestone, and you'll have a chance to join me. Let's watch some football, eat some great food, and if you have questions about Awaken 180, ask me. Details to come, but don't wait on that. Call Awaken 180 today and learn how fast you can reach your goals. 844-346-1800 or online, awaken180weightloss.com.
Blue here for the Blue Crab House, located right off of San Jose. It's on Jewington Creek Road. They've been around since 1996. Indoor-outdoor dining. Also, takeout is available at the Blue Crab House. Open 4:30 to 9, Tuesday through Saturday. Sunday, noon until 9. Remember, Tuesday, $2 margaritas. Wednesday, $1 oyster night. How about the blue crabs? How about my personal favorite, the Canadian snow crabs? Whatever it is that you fancy, you get it right there. The Blue Crab House.
Stay in touch with the stars of Coral Gables.
From South Beach to Jacks Beach, stay on A1A for the latest from Miami on the Hurricane Report.
Brought to you by Performance Painting. Prepare, protect, preserve.
On 1010XL.
Blue for Shinatri Chiropractic. They've helped me get rid of my headaches and pain in my neck and back. Are you suffering from an auto accident? What about TMJ pain? Headaches associated with jaw clenching, grinding of the teeth, or stress-related disorders? Shinatri Chiropractic has a physical therapist on staff for rehabilitation, quality chiropractic care, dry needling, massage, and acupuncture. Call 743-6700 or go to ShinatriDC.com.
Craving a cold one? Well, zip into one of the great gate locations you see all over town and pick up a cold Bud Light, or a Natty, or an Ultra. Maybe a 12-pack of the King of Beers, or some cold Coronas. It's all happening at your local gate convenience store. Slide on in today.
Bueller Air and Plumbing presents Are You Cool?
Today's contestant, a gravy taster from Jacksonville, Florida, me, Dennis Mosley.
Hi, Ken.
Okay, Dennis. 100 plumbers surveyed, top answer on the board. What does it mean if someone says your home has hard water?
It's made of ice? Let's see. Hard water. Oh, is it club soda mixed 4-to-1 with vodka?
Last chance, Dennis. What is hard water?
Oh, is it that lime scale stuff that makes my taps all crusty?
That's right, Dennis. And a water treatment system from Bueller Air and Plumbing will eliminate troublesome lime-scale deposits that can ruin your expensive appliances and let your neighbors know for sure that you are cool.
I wonder if I can get me a gin and tonic faucet. Stay cooler with Bueller. Visit BuellerAir.com.
Visionaries, builders, and doers. Are you ready to change the world? Miller Electric is your opportunity to shape the future. Miller Electric is leading the charge in electric vehicle technology with our state-of-the-art EV Innovation Design Center. We're working to create a sustainable future. We're also the proud partners of the Jacksonville Jaguars, powering their performance at the brand-new Miller Electric Center. Miller Electric, we provide competitive pay, unbeatable benefits. Apply today. MillerCareers.com. Miller Electric, an equal opportunity employer.
Get off the ladder and put on the helmet with Gutter Helmet of North Florida. We are family owned and manufactured locally. Cleaning your gutters is a dangerous and dirty job. That's why with Gutter Helmet, you'll never clean your gutters again. Water goes in your gutters while trash and debris go on the ground. It won't collect like filters do. Gutter Helmet protects. Call now for 10% off and a free gutter cleaning and tune-up with your purchase of Gutter Helmet. Call 904-762-7779.
Hey folks, this is Dave Benyon with my son Ammon here from Zero Res. Ammon, you've been cleaning air ducts for a while now. What are some of the reasons customers might consider getting their air ducts cleaned?
There are many reasons. Many times, people suffer needlessly from poor indoor air quality produced by the conditions in their air system. Construction dust, the presence of bacterial growth, and years' worth of buildup all come together to make your air ducts a pretty gross place. If you suffer from allergies, have recently moved, recently remodeled, or have never had your air ducts cleaned, then now is the best time to call. By calling Zero Res, you'll have the peace of mind of knowing that you called the best of the best. Our state-of-the-art truck mount system and top-of-the-line service representatives simply can't be found anywhere else. Google Zero Res and read thousands of 5-star reviews.
So what kind of deals can I expect?
Just mention that you heard us on the radio, and we'll give you $100 off your air duct cleaning.
Wow, that sounds like a pretty great deal. Remember, folks, Zero Res,
spelled forward or backwards, it's the right way to clean.
CEROREZ. Zero Res.
Hear the Florida Gators all season on 1010XL. Brought to you by Renewal by Anderson Custom Windows and Doors. Proud partner of the Florida Gators. And by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. 1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Now, another great guest on the Garber Auto Mall phone line.
Hello.
We can wiggle it.
Back here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM in the city of Jacksonville, we are glad you are with us. The Gators and the Volunteers, Saturday night. Of course, you'll hear the game right here on 1010XL. The Gators coming off a win over UCF to get to 3-2 on the year. Tennessee coming off a really interesting loss to Arkansas. They'll probably be foaming at the mouth on Rocky Top to get out there on Saturday night. And we're at the midway point for Miami and for Florida State. One of those teams is very happy. The other team is not. And we'll talk about all of that with my buddy Barrett Salih, host of the Smothered and Covered podcast. You also hear him on Sirius XM. And Barrett's always kind enough to join us here on 1010XL. Barrett, how you doing, man?
I'm great, Ryan. How are you?
Hey, Barrett, we're good. I know you're busy, so thank you for the time. All right, quickly, a rewind back to last week. Tennessee goes down to Arkansas. More incredibly, Vanderbilt takes care of Alabama. What a crazy SEC week it was last Saturday.
Yeah, man. It's I said this last week about this time. Every single year when we have that one down weekend in college football, all hell breaks loose. And we saw that. It was from noon until deep into the night where we had great game after great game. So it was fun.
It was fun, and there's a lot of parity. I mean, we see top 10 teams that are getting beat pretty regularly this year. Barrett, is that a direct correlation with NIL and the transfer portal? Is that why we have the parity we do now?
Yeah, it is. I think, that's a big part of it. And, Nick Saban talked about this a little bit last offseason, and I think he mentioned it on one of the game day episodes this year, is that, the depth isn't there. And, that's because a lot of these players who can play somewhere go play somewhere. Right? Like they realize there's no sitting around for 3 years, because there's, these players recognize, hey, I can't start at Georgia, I can't start at Alabama, but I could go start at Mississippi State. I could go start at Arkansas. And so the depth is really the problem. And so I think for all these teams, if you're Georgia, if you're Alabama, if you're anybody, you have to look around and say, okay, how do I overcome that? Because the gap certainly is a lot smaller than it has been in years past.
Barrett Sallee, host of the Smothered and Covered podcast. You also hear him on Sirius XM. He's with us here on 1010XL in Jacksonville. All right, Barrett, the Florida Gators, 1-2. The sky was falling. People were counting the minutes and the hours until Billy Napier was fired. And all of a sudden, they go to Starkville and they beat Mississippi State. All right. Then they play a pretty good game, quite honestly, and beat UCF, and they were the underdogs in that game. If nothing else, and this is what I've told people here in Jacksonville, if nothing else, give Napier credit, because amidst all the noise in the system and the roof falling in on him, this team is still playing very hard and winning these last 2 ball games.
Yeah, they are, and he deserves a ton of credit for it. And I don't know if he actually is going to get credit for it, because when all is said and done, the record's going to be the record. Although, like I said before, 6-6 can look different, in a lot of different ways. So, I think for Florida, the fact I didn't think they would beat UCF last week. I thought more of UCF than maybe they were, but. They keep playing hard. It's been hard to go through what they've gone through with the quarterback situation. Graham Mertz has actually been really, really good when he's in there. So, Billy, this thing could go in all different directions, right? You could have, like we saw with Florida State under Willie Taggart, 85 guys going in 85 different directions. But at Florida, they have seemed to come together, and I think it goes back to something I've said a long time. They don't want to fire Billy. Like they want to keep him. They like him. Everybody likes him. I think that there was some mismanagement, and at some point he has to prove that he's evolved. And I think right now it sort of looks like he has evolved. And can that be sustained? I don't know. We'll see. I think that what we've seen this year has been really, really impressive. And I don't think it's getting recognized nationally. It's just like, oh, when's Billy going to get fired? Well, and look, that's a question that everybody asks. I asked it on today's show, but it's I think a huge compliment to him that his players are still playing well.
And to that point, this to me, like you said, this has more Will Muschamp vibes than McElwain or Mullen vibes. They didn't want to fire Muschamp either. They liked Will. They liked the direction the program was going under Will, but Will didn't win enough games. It's kind of the same thing with Billy, at least to this point, correct?
Oh, yeah, there's no doubt. Will Muschamp is one of the nicest dudes you'll ever meet. And I like going back in time. Yeah, they really wanted him to succeed. But at some point, it became clear that it wasn't. Right now, I think it was pretty clear that it wasn't for Billy Napier. But he's starting to maybe sway some opinions a little bit. And so if that continues, then maybe he does keep his job, especially if you can if you can win one of those games down the stretch, one of those 5 in the gauntlet from hell after the cocktail party.
Barrett Sallee, Sirius XM. You also hear him as the host of the Smothered and Covered podcast. He's with us here on 1010XL in Jacksonville. The gauntlet doesn't officially start till Georgia, although Tennessee and Kentucky are no pushovers, so it really starts this week. Look, they're going to Knoxville on a Saturday night. Tennessee's going to be pissed because of what happened against Arkansas last week. I mean, let's be honest, what's probably going to happen? To me, Florida's got to survive the first half because I think Tennessee's going to come out as gangbusters. The Rocky Top and the Volunteer Navy, they are going to be ready for the Gators after last year. If you're Florida, just try to get into halftime with it being somewhat attainable to win, and I think that would be a victory at that point, and then see what happens in the second half.
I think that's fair because, like you said, Tennessee, they're going to be pissed after what happened last weekend. I think there's some concern, too, just who is Nico Iamaleava. I think right now he hasn't had to go be a superstar, and that's what Florida has to do is go, test him because really he's just sort of been okay. And then last week against Arkansas, he was far less than okay. I think when you're right, if Florida can just keep it close for a little while and then come what may in the second half, I think that'll be fine. And really just not any mistakes. I know it's easy to say no turnovers, but no turnovers, right? I mean, if you can survive, the first few drives and not get rattled by what'll be a hostile crowd, then you can go a long way. I think it mostly depends, though, on the offensive line. We've seen Tennessee's defensive front just terrorize teams. And they did the same thing to Arkansas last week, not as much as they had to other teams. But, Tennessee's defensive front is just nasty, and Florida's been kind of hit or miss there up front on offense. So I think that's the biggest key. We'll see what happens. But it's a big one. There's no doubt. If Billy can beat Tennessee, then there are a lot of minds that will be changed.
6 games in for both Miami and Florida State. Barrett, let's talk about the good first, and that's Miami. Now, they're playing with fire the last couple of weeks, right? That Virginia Tech game was wild at the end, and then I don't think they want to come back from 35-10 for a while. I mean, they're kind of using up all their mulligans. Having said that, they're 6-0. They're in prime position for a playoff spot. What do you make of Cristobal and Cam Ward and the Canes to this point?
Yeah, I think I'm surprised because I think, to me, Miami was bound to be underwhelming this year. I thought Cam Ward was nothing but a stat monster. I was wrong. That offense is just absolutely monstrous. I do wonder, though, because they've been on thin ice, what does happen if and when they do suffer a loss? They don't get that break. Then I think the challenge for Cristobal is to not let that beat them down, because I do think it'll happen. I think for Miami, they're not an elite football team because they aren't showing what it takes to be a national champion. With that said, they're still finding ways to get it done, sometimes with the help of the officials. So, yeah, it's certainly nice to see Mario Cristobal not, try to outthink himself in terms of managing a game. That was the biggest concern going into the season for me. And quite honestly, it still is there lingering for a little bit, but still he's done a better job of that. And I think for Miami, just don't let, if you keep living like this, sometimes you're not going to get the break, but don't let that turn into the season falling apart, because sometimes if you keep getting those breaks and then it doesn't happen, then everyone kind of looks around like John Travolta in Pulp Fiction, like, what happened? Where is it? Like, what happened? And to be a top 10 team, that's just that's awesome. And I think moving forward, we'll see what they can do.
Final moments. Barrett Sallee, host of the Smothered and Covered podcast. Barrett, you and I are roughly the same age, I believe. So when I see that Florida State helmet and that logo, I think back to Bobby Bowden in the glory days, and when things weren't going well, they would figure it out. And that's why the end of Bowden and certainly Willie Taggart was so weird, right? Because they just never figured it out for that little stretch. And then when Jimbo came in, they started figuring it out again and obviously won a national title. But now we're back into one of those valleys, because I'm watching this team this year and I'm thinking, all right, at some point that defensive line is going to start doing their thing. At some point that offensive line is going to take over and the wide receiver is going to do their thing. And it's just not happening. They're just not any good at 1-5. And I think they almost have thrown up the white flag, because you saw last week, Barrett, a lot of freshmen are starting to get in there for the Noles.
They are. And Mike Norvell looks exhausted. I actually ran into Mike in the airport after the game in Ireland, flying back home. And even then, he kind of looked beat down. He was talking to some Florida State boosters in the Dublin airport and just was like, he just shell-shocked, but he looked tired. Like he was, like he had no idea what hit him. And it just hasn't changed. I mean, you look on his face on the sideline, it's like just he's perplexed all the time. It was a philosophical problem. He married himself to a quarterback that wasn't any good, and everybody saw it. I think there was some ego involved. And on top of that, I just think that he had a vision for the program that wasn't realistic. It backfired on him. He's gotten away from high school development. That will change, I would imagine, very quickly, because I do think Mike's a very smart guy. But yes, it does feel like they've kind of resided in the fact that, okay, it's just a lost season. And that sucks for the older guys because you don't want to, have your last year as a lost season. But I mean, they know it. It's not like they haven't been involved in 5 losses. So yeah, I think Florida State can get back though next year. I do think that Mike is smart enough to recognize how to do things differently. I think he did it after that COVID season, which was challenging for a lot of different reasons, especially him for taking over the program then. But it's a lost season. And again, that sucks. It sucks to say it. It sucks to be on that roster, in that building, on that coaching staff. When you hear that, it's just like, oh God, we're just going through the motions now. But yeah, they're just going through the motions now.
Barrett, as we wrap up, it's going to be quite the Saturday of college football, man. There's a big one between Ole Miss and LSU. The big one nationally certainly is Oregon and Ohio State. And then you got the Texas State Fair, the first time the SEC conference is going to be represented there with Texas and Oklahoma. What do you make of those 3 on Saturday afternoon?
Yeah, to me, I'm so curious about Oregon. I'm actually having James Crepeo, beat writer for the Oregonian on my show tomorrow. And I'm fascinated to hear what Dan Lanning's been like in terms of adjusting to what the problems were, because they were getting whipped at the line of scrimmage. And that is not something that you need to have happen against Ohio State. It's going to be awesome to see that game and see if they can solve that and fix that. Man, the State Fair of Texas, it seems like we forgot already, and it's been out of sight, out of mind, that Oklahoma's quarterback situation is still very much in the air, because honestly, that offense looked terrible for 55 minutes against Auburn. And I mean, honestly, looked terrible the whole time. It was the defense. It was the pick 6 that actually sealed the deal. So if this game gets into a track meet, if it gets into a shootout, what happens? And I don't think that will turn out well for Brent Venables, because I do think Texas, in terms of what they are, what they could be, that's a national championship caliber team. I think getting Quinn back is going to be huge, because then they can just build off what they did before. So, man, I know after last weekend, it's like, oh, watch out for Oklahoma, watch out, upset alert for Ohio State. I just can't see that happening for the Longhorns.
No, I don't either. And the thing with Texas, I mean, the crazy thing is they're the last remaining undefeated SEC team. They're kind of carrying the SEC water right now after what was just a crazy Saturday in the Southeastern Conference, when you had Missouri go down, you had Alabama go down, and you obviously also had Tennessee go down. And then finally, we talk about the SEC slate this upcoming weekend, Ole Miss, LSU on the Bayou. I mean, look, Lane Kiffin, it's a huge game for him. It's obviously a huge game for Brian Kelly. Who do you like in that matchup?
Yeah, I'm still going to go with Ole Miss. I think maybe just a few weeks ago, they read their press clippings a little too much and got punched in the face and brought back down to earth. And what we saw last weekend is really more what they are. They get after the quarterback in terms of chaos. They created chaos basically every game outside of the Kentucky game. And I think ultimately LSU's defense has not improved as much as I thought. So to me, it just feels like one of those things where you're going to ask LSU's offense to keep up. And I just don't think that it can. I love Garrett Nussmeier. I think their receivers are fine. The offensive line, to me, has improved, but still isn't where it needs to be. And I think ultimately that's where they're going to get caught. So yeah, I'll take Ole Miss. But LSU flying under the radar a little bit. So, if they spring an upset, I think we should all kind of turn our attention to them and be like, oh, okay, I see you, Brian Kelly.
Thank you to Barrett Sleeves of the Smothered and Covered podcast, college football podcast, also Sirius XM for joining us here tonight on Hacker After Dark. Denmark, I know you did a Denmark and Marsh podcast. You've done a couple of them since the UCF game. What do you guys do, 3 of those a week?
Yeah, Monday, Wednesday, then we do one after the game.
I like that. All right, so Florida, Tennessee, Saturday night in Knoxville. I'm assuming you're not picking Florida to win. I don't think anybody's picking Florida to win, at least anybody that I know. But would it be enough for you if Florida was competitive into the fourth quarter with Tennessee?
I'd be surprised if they were to. I mean, Tennessee's offense isn't, I think, as good as most people expected them to. The first 3 weeks, they were putting up 70 on Kent State and, a couple other
they didn't play anybody.
Non-Power 4 teams. And everybody thought that that's kind of who they were. And then they go to Oklahoma, and, Oklahoma's a decent team. They're trying to find their quarterback. Didn't put up 100 points, and they didn't do the same against Arkansas. So, they got a freshman quarterback, Nico, and they're trying to find their offense and find their groove. The spread's like 15, 16, 17 points, depending on where you look. And I think Tennessee's going to do that. And I don't know. I'm still kind of a wait-and-see approach because, Florida fans, sure that they've caught some momentum playing, 2 not good teams in Central Florida and Mississippi State, but I still think Tennessee is going to handle Florida.
Yeah, I would. If the spread was 17, I would take Florida. I think Tennessee wins the game. I don't have the guts to pick the Gators, but I got to tell you, man, Graham Mertz and DJ Lagway, this 2-quarterback deal that they're doing, they've been good. Now, Tennessee will obviously be the toughest defense of the 3 they've played, Mississippi State, UCF, and Tennessee. And Lagway's never been to Neyland. Graham Mertz has never been to Neyland, for that matter, on a Saturday night nonetheless. So it's going to be a tough environment, a tough atmosphere. But I've been fairly impressed by the 2-quarterback system. They're running the ball decent with Montrell Johnson, Jaden Baugh. They've done all this, mind you, without their best player, and Eugene Wilson. If he comes back, that's only going to help them. I would take Florida in 17. I think Tennessee wins the game, I don't know, 34-20.
Now, the one thing about Tennessee that Florida hasn't seen all year is they probably have one of the best defensive linemen in the country.
Yeah.
I can't forget his name, number 21. And then you go back the following week, you play Kentucky, and they got another first-round defensive lineman.
Oh, no,
so
Florida's seen that.
It's a tall order for these next couple of weeks.
Yeah, no, Florida's seen that. They saw A&M and Miami kill Graham Mertz in the entire game. My man, number 11 for A&M, Slaughton or whatever his name is, the transfer in that's at A&M now. I think he was like the Big 12 Defensive Player of the Year last year. Florida couldn't block him, and they couldn't block Barron, the former Volunteer who's now at Miami. So, yeah, Florida's seen some good D linemen. The problem is they haven't stopped any of them, and I don't expect them to stop the guys in Knoxville either. Again, having said all that, Billy Napier deserves a little bit of credit for keeping the team together, for having them play hard, for rattling off a couple of wins, one on the road in Starkville. I will give him a tip of the cap. I will give him credit. Do I think they're going to beat Tennessee? No. But I do think they keep it close. And to me, it comes down to that Kentucky game. That Kentucky game's enormous. Because if you're 3-3, and Kentucky's good, mind you. I mean, they obviously beat Ole Miss. They're very good. But that is a winnable game in Gainesville. And this is what we talked about last week prior to UCF. If Florida can find a way to get to 4-3, which in our scenario would mean lose to Tennessee, beat Kentucky, then can you get 2 of the last 5 to get to 6-6 and get to a bowl game? Florida State's awful. You would think Florida would have a great shot of winning that game. They're not going to beat Georgia. They're not going to beat Texas. But could Florida find one between Ole Miss and LSU? I don't know. It'll be curious. But at 1-2, the sky was falling. 3-2, sky's still probably falling, but maybe a little bit of cover. Maybe a little bit of light at the end of the tunnel.
They were doing the same thing we did last year.
Hey,
started off awful, and then we're like, hey, they're not that bad. They're 5-2 going into the bye week, and then the roof fell off.
Yeah, you can say. I mean, you can justify Denmark any way you want. The fact is, I'm willing to bet 90% of Gator fans listening right now want Billy Napier gone. basically the entirety of Gator Nation on social media wants Billy Napier gone. You know, the players read all that stuff. The players' family, the players' friends, they're constantly in their ear about Lane Kiffin this and Eli Drinkowitz that, and are you going to transfer out, and Billy's going to get fired any day now. And despite all that, because that didn't happen last year, that's happening this year. Despite all that, they've won a couple of games. Again, nobody expects them to do anything in these last 7. No one thinks they're going to go to Knoxville and win. No one thinks they're going to win the cocktail party. No one thinks they're going to go to Austin and win. There are literally no expectations on Florida, maybe with the exception of the Florida State game. Every other game, Florida legitimately might be, well, I guess Kentucky, no, but the other 5, they're going to be double-digit underdogs. I'm just saying, we'll see. A team that plays hard, a team that's battling, stranger things have happened. Can Florida get 3 out of the last 7? I think it'll be close. And I would love to have that conversation at 6-6 and a bowl game, which would technically be an improvement off of last year if Billy has earned another year with the Florida Gators. 641-1010 on the text line, designed by Lifetime Enclosures. Gator fans, have you given up on Billy, or are you willing to open that door back up, particularly if they go to Knoxville and shock the college football world on Saturday night? Your texts are welcome. We'll get back into the NFL as well in the 9 o'clock hour. Demetrius Harvey of the Florida Times-Union and Jacksonville.com joins me in less than 20 minutes. A Tuesday evening in Jacksonville, Florida, with Dylan Denmark, the hacker Ryan Green with you. Jacksonville, we're glad you're with us right here, Hacker After Dark on 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
English is their second language. Their native tongue is teal and black.
Let's go!
Mike Dempsey and Fat Tony bring you Jaguars Today.
From the Renewal by Anderson Custom Windows and Doors Studios.
10 to noon on 1010XL.
Baloo here for Smunez Vision. Why Smunez Vision? Well, I've been with Dr. Neil Smunez now since I got back to Jacksonville in 2006. 37 years of experience he has. Smunez Vision is a family organization that focuses on personal high-quality medical and surgical eye care. Dr. Catherine Smunez is fellowship trained in cornea and cataract surgery and all refractive surgery. Combined, that's 30 years plus in laser eye surgery. Visit SmunezVision.com today. Care you can see.
Duck Duck Rooter provides plumbing, septic, and air conditioning services across the First Coast. We have the ability to travel straight to you when you need it most. We have our community covered. Duck Duck Rooter technicians are your neighbors, friends, and family. We know you best. Understand what sets us apart from the rest. When you're stuck, call the Duck. 904-862-6769 or visit duckduckrooter.com.
The Jaguars are back at Everbank Stadium to go head-to-head with the Green Bay Packers for our crucial catch game. Join us October 27th as we fight cancer through early detection, risk reduction, and awareness all game long. Lock in your tickets now by visiting jaguars.com/tickets or call 904-633-2000. We'll see you there.
Yo, it's your boy E.T. And have you been betting and winning on MyBookie.com? If you haven't bet with MyBookie yet, they're still running that double deposit bonus. Just sign up using my promo code 1010XL. We're on the NFL Week 6. There are a ton of college matchups that run through the weekend. Get some skin in the game. You should certainly have your eye on the spread for Florida, Tennessee on Saturday night. Then you know we play the Bears to kick off NFL Sunday morning, and we're probably going to be a slight underdog. If you think we can win in London, bet it. But then the Surgeon Commanders play the Ravens, the Cowboys play the Lions, and then for Sunday Night Football, the Bengals are traveling to New York to play the Giants. For a limited time, MyBookie is still running that double deposit bonus. Use promo code 1010XL to claim that bonus. That doubles your money on your very first deposit. You heard that right. Double your money using promo code 1010XL before you even place a bet. Bet anything, anytime, anywhere. Make this season your winning season with MyBookie. Come on, somebody.
There's something special about football under the Friday night lights.
Clear eyes, full hearts.
Southeast Orthopedic Specialists Friday Night Lights.
Presented by Duck Duck Rooter Plumbing, Septic and Air Conditioning on 1010XL.
Brackish Vodka, the official vodka of UNF Athletics, 100% made in Jacksonville, is available at all local liquor stores. Visit Browdy's, Total Wine, ABC, Shores, Golden, Sahara's, Golden Ox, and more. Drink our gluten-free San Francisco Spirit award-winning vodka and see why it's the smoothest vodka you can buy. When you drink Brackish Vodka, you support all of our local employees and all the money stays in Jacksonville. Drink Brackish Vodka and live life slightly salty. Proud partner of the Jaguars.
Expert Automotive on St. John's Bluff Road has some of the highest Google reviews in Jax for a reason. Expert Auto never sells greed, only what you need. All makes and models are serviced at Expert Automotive. This month, get an alignment inspection for only $19.99. Expert Auto does major engine and transmission repair and simple maintenance. All services done at Expert Auto by our ASE certified training technicians. Call today, 374-3373, and ask about $50 off any service. Expert Automotive. We never sell greed, only what you need.
Arrested? Got traffic tickets? DUI? License problems, gun charges, drug charges? If you've been charged with any crime, call me, criminal defense attorney Malcolm Anthony, at 285-4LAW. That's 285-4LAW.
Homeowners, listen up. The Fed has taken action, lowering rates for the first time in years, and Loan Pronto has followed suit by lowering mortgage rates big time. Prosser here. Loan Pronto just locked in a homeowner at 4.59% APR, the lowest in 2 years. Whether you got your loan last month or last year, it's time to call Loan Pronto and dump that high-rate loan. You can lock in a lower rate fast with virtually no paperwork and usually no appraisal. There's no limit on how many times you can refi, so get started. Even if you're in process with another lender, give Loan Pronto a call. If you act now, you can even skip your next 2 house payments. Purchase loans available as well, so call now. Get your rate quote in minutes with no hard credit pull and no upfront fees like those other guys. Call 904-999-1508 or go to loanpronto.com. That's 904-999-1508 or loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781 on approved credit, MLSconsumeraccess.org.
Find your why with membership at the First Coast YMCA. The Y has something for everyone at any age. Come try free access to your local Y every Wellness Wednesday this month. Check out our fitness classes, swimming, pickleball, youth sports, and so much more for free every Wednesday in October. Plus, we'll waive the join fee when you become a member this month. Get active, be social, live healthier, and discover all the benefits of YMCA membership at your local Y or visit fcymca.org.
Time now for a medical recap. A health and wellness tip from Jaguars head team physician Dr. Kevin Kaplan.
Your musculoskeletal system carries the body, meaning that it maintains the structure against gravity. If you want your joints to stay healthy and seek the simplest solution, the best answer is to lose weight. Don't forget, the more weight you put onto your joints, the more pressure and stress there is on your hips and knees. This translates to more pain if you're already having issues. Losing weight is the quickest way to alleviate joint pain and boost your joint health. Go Jags.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Hacker After Dark on 1010XL.
Yes, it is. We'll take you up till 10 o'clock tonight, as we do every night. Hacker After Dark, right here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM. Boy, a lot of NFL news today. Just a ton of it. And the big news came out of the Big Apple, right? Robert Saleh fired as the head coach of the New York Jets. 3 years and 5 games is what Robert Saleh got in New York. 56 games total, a record of 20-36. Now, that's somewhat relative, right? Aaron Rodgers got hurt 4 plays into last season. Saleh still had the Jets at 7-10 with Zach Wilson as their quarterback last year. 4-13 in 2021, a couple of 7-10 season. They started this year 2-3. But 2 bad losses to Denver at home and then the Minnesota game in London. And Robert Saleh shown the door. I'll tell you this, watching the coverage today, I was watching FAN in New York when they found out in real time. The hosts were stunned I mean, flabbergasted. People inside that building that came on with reports on ESPN and the NFL Network, including Jay Glazer of Fox Sports as well, said there was a lot of people that were flat out stunned. Robert Saleh and the staff did not see this coming. Woody Johnson, the owner, said it was his decision and his decision alone. So Robert Saleh out the door. Was it his decision or was it Aaron Rodgers' decision? That's certainly something to think about as well. But they know they have a very, very, very short window. They have a 40-plus-year-old quarterback. They do not have a lot of time to get this thing on the tracks. And at 2-3, I guess they figured the time was now. So Robert Saleh becomes the first NFL head coach to be fired as he was let go by the New York Jets earlier today. In other AFC East news, this one's interesting for the Jaguars as well. Gerard Mayo of the New England Patriots announced that Drake May, the number 3 overall pick out of North Carolina, will start this Sunday against Houston, and presumably, barring injury, will be the starting quarterback for the Patriots a week from Sunday in London against the Jacksonville Jaguars. So that means the Jaguars will see back-to-back rookie quarterbacks in London. Caleb Williams this Sunday with Chicago. Drake May next Sunday with New England. Heck of an opportunity for the Jaguars. Look, as bad as 0-4 was, and as bad as that 3-minute stretch in the fourth quarter was against Indy, the fact is you found a way to win the game, and now you play back-to-back rookie quarterbacks who have never played a game in London. And Drake May, to this point, has never played a game in the NFL in the regular season. Jaguars have a chance to get to 3-4, and as we said all along, 3-4, you kind of reset yourself, right? The season's kind of anew at that point. 10 games to go at 3-4. We'll see if the Jaguars can get there beginning this Sunday with a very good Chicago Bears football team. Other NFL news coming on today. Derek Carr in New Orleans has an injury that's going to sideline him reportedly for a couple of weeks. An oblique injury. Boy, Carr was phenomenal the first couple games of the year, and New Orleans has roared back down to earth as of late. They're 2-3, and now they're going to be without their starting quarterback. Remember when Devin White was one of the best linebackers in football for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers? Devin White was considered to be a top 10, maybe top 5 linebacker as recently as, 2 or 3 years ago? He lost his job in Tampa last year, got cut, signs a free agent contract with the Philadelphia Eagles, and gets flat out released again today. Devin White released in Philadelphia. So one of the best linebackers in football a couple of years ago is now looking for work as he was cut earlier today by the Philadelphia Eagles. And quickly, most teams are 5 games in, a handful are 4 games in because they've already had a bye. You look at the standings right now in the divisions. Buffalo on top of the AFC East at 3-2. In the AFC North, Baltimore on top at 3-2. Chiefs 5-0, Texans 4-1. Everybody in the AFC has at least 2 losses with the exception of Kansas City and Houston. That's pretty wild, right? We're only 5 games in. And everybody's got at least 2 losses, with the exception of Kansas City and the Houston Texans. In the NFC, maybe the biggest surprise in football to this point, the Minnesota Vikings, 5-0. Maybe the second biggest surprise to this point, how about the Washington Commanders and Jaden Daniels? You seen them play? They're fun to watch. Washington, 4-1, leading the NFC East 5 weeks into the year. Raise your hand if 5 weeks in you had the Vikings on top in the NFC North and you had the Commanders on top in the NFC East. Atlanta leads the NFC South at 3-2. And Seattle leads the NFC West at 3-2. Maybe the most disappointing teams in football. Jacksonville is probably on that list right now at 1-4. San Francisco is definitely on that list at 2-3. 49ers have been ravaged by injuries, and they are third in their own division as it stands right now. And I got to tell you, man, the best division in football 5 weeks into the year, unfortunately, the Jaguars are going to play all 4 of them in the foreseeable future. It's the NFC North. Every team in the NFC North is above 500. In fact, the team that's technically in last place, the Chicago Bears at 3-2. And the Jaguars will see them Sunday in London. Demetrius Harvey of the Florida Times-Union, Jacksonville.com. He's traveling over to London. Before he does, he joins us to recap Indy and preview Chicago. Let's talk Jags with my buddy Demetrius Harvey of Jacksonville.com next Tuesday night here on Hacker After Dark.
When you don't want to wait till tomorrow for analysis of today's game, get it 2 hours after the final whistle. Hacker Leon and Coach Campo bring you the window world of Northeast Florida fifth quarter. Presented by Von Rowan Law on 1010XL.
100 pounds. Man, when you say it like that, 100 pounds. That's the weight I've lost on Awaken 180 weight loss. Awaken 180 has changed my life. Awaken 180 has saved my life. From 317 pounds in late February to 217 pounds right now at the early part of October. Down triple digits thanks to the great folks and the great program of Awaken 180 weight loss. Guys, it's simple. If you need to lose weight like I did, and whether it's a ton of weight like I did, or whether it's 20 pounds, anywhere in between, take it from somebody who's lost 100 pounds on this program. It works. It can help you. It can change your life. Trust me. Go to awaken180weightloss.com.
Now you can watch 1010XL shows all day on X, Facebook, and YouTube. Brought to you by MyBookie. Experience Vegas from the comfort of your phone anytime, anywhere. Sign up today. Use promo code 1010XL.
If you are an experienced electrician looking for your next big opportunity, look no further than the Miller Electric Company, a trusted name in the industry for over 96 years. At Miller Electric, we tackle the biggest projects in the city, offering you the chance to showcase your skills on a grand scale. We believe in rewarding hard work with the best pay, top-notch benefits, and an unbeatable culture where people actually care about each other. Take your career to new heights with Miller Electric Company. Apply today at millercareers.com. Miller Electric, an equal opportunity employer.
Home of the Jacksonville Jaguars. WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach. WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach.
Blue here for the Blue Crab House, located right off of San Jose. It's on Jewington Creek Road. They've been around since 1996. Indoor-outdoor dining. Also, takeout is available at the Blue Crab House. Open 4:30 to 9, Tuesday through Saturday. Sunday, noon until 9. Remember, Tuesday, $2 margaritas. Wednesday, $1 oyster night. How about the blue crabs? How about my personal favorite, the Canadian snow crabs? Whatever it is that you fancy, you get it right there. The Blue Crab House.
You go into your shower feeling, but as soon as you reach for the Irish Spring, your day immediately gets better. That crisp, fresh, unmistakable Irish Spring scent zings your brain and awakens your senses. So when you finally emerge from the shower, 37 minutes later, because you pay the water bill so you can stay in there as long as you want, you're ready to take on the day and smell great doing it. Irish Spring Body Wash and Bar Soap. Fresh, green, Irish. Shop now at Walmart.
This is your Mad Dad's Update with Chapter President Donald Ford. In our effort to curb crime, drugs, and violence during the summer months, we are offering Friday Night Lights. It has already started and will be going until school starts back. It is every Friday night from 6:30 to 9:30 at the Blacktop, 5732 Normandy Boulevard, and behind the Potter's House Christian Academy. We manage 3 basketball courts. You are not running on the cement. We have covering on each court. The Lakers, the Magic, and the Heat. Ages 15 to 40 years old. This will give them something to do other than selling drugs and getting into trouble. We have monitors there giving leadership. We have to wake up, stand up, and speak up. Hit me on Facebook and tell me what you think. Or MattDadJacksonville.com.
In its final year, we encourage you to help create great futures for young people when you run or walk at Mackenzie's Run, Saturday, November 23rd. Join Boys and Girls Club of Northeast Florida for a 5K and 1-mile fun run through the beautiful stadium course at TPC Sawgrass. Enjoy food, live music, face painting, family fun, and more at our Runners Village. Register at MacKenziesRun.org. Mackenzie's 5K and Fun Run, November 23rd. MacKenziesRun.org.
Have you tried golfing at the improved Cimarron Golf Club? If you haven't, tell you what, you're missing out on the best deal in Jacksonville. Now, many of you have received a postcard in the mail, and of course, if you bring that with you, $45 plus tax to play. That includes a cart, lunch, and a beer at the brand new Stone Barrel Tap House. Now, go to the website, that is CimarronGolfClub.com, and sign up for the Wild One Loyalty Program. That's the Wild One Loyalty Program, and get all of these specials emailed to you from Cimarron.
Dive into Beyond Triathlon, an inspiring documentary with stories of women in sports, featuring Jacksonville's Dottie Dorian, Mayor Donna Deegan, and 3-time Olympic gold medalist Nancy Hogshead at the Lazara Performance Hall at UNF this Saturday, October 12th. After, Bacardi invites you to celebrate with a triumphant Toast to Excellence reception. Golden and silver levels get an exclusive custom blended bottle of rum. Get tickets starting at $10 at BeyondTriathlon.com. Proceeds benefit scholarships for female athletes.
Make a crucial catch against colon cancer. Hicken here for the Borland Groover Foundation. If you're 45 or older, the ball is in the red zone to get screened. The key to surviving colon cancer, early detection and prevention. 45 is the new 50. Get screened for colon cancer now. The Borland Groover Foundation is a nonprofit organization devoted to building a healthy and equitable community that is free from colon cancer. Visit BorlandGrooverFoundation.com for more.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Now, another great guest on the Garber Auto Mall phone line.
Hello.
We can wiggle it.
Back here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM in the city of Jacksonville, we are glad you are with us. The Jaguars and the Bears, Sunday, 9:30 in the morning. Of course, you'll hear it right here on 1010XL. The Jaguars coming off their first win of the year. Chicago probably feeling pretty good about things as they sit at 3-2 on the season. Demetrius Harvey of the Florida Times-Union, Jacksonville.com, does a terrific job covering the Jaguars, and he's always kind enough to join us here on 1010XL. Demetrius, how you doing, man?
I'm doing all right. Just anticipating all the travel and all the London stuff that's going to happen over the next couple weeks.
Yeah, you're getting kind of slammed with the storm coming in, trying to get over to London, then being over there for a couple of games. Demetrius, you and I talked last, right around cut-down time of the preseason, and if I were to tell you 5 weeks into the regular season, the Jaguars would be 1-4, and their only win would be a 37-34 home game against Indianapolis, what would you have said?
I would have said that's not good enough. I mean, it simply isn't, and I think that we've sort of seen it over over the first month of the season, I guess month and change now of the season, where, you know, this team is just not where the expectations, you know, including, you know, Shad Khan's expectations were before you entered. You know, if you would have told me they would be maybe 1-3 coming out of the 4 games, I would have believed you. And simply because it's a situation where they're playing, you know, potentially playoff teams. You know, these were all the first 4 games were all playoff teams from a year ago. So you had a situation where, you know, it made sense. You know, say they had beaten the Browns as one of their wins, but they had lost to the Bills, they had lost to the Dolphins, they had lost to the Texans. That would have been reasonable, but it's more so the way that they have lost. They lost in an embarrassing way against the Buffalo Bills on Monday Night Football. They couldn't get it done against Miami, even though they had a lead going into the fourth quarter. And then the Browns game was just a mess completely. And it's all been almost entirely on the offensive side of the football, where they've just struggled mightily. So I would have believed that they would have had a bumpy start just because it was a tough schedule. But I didn't anticipate the way that they've lost and the way that they've started this season.
There's no doubt 4 losses in a row was horrific, and there was all the talk about Doug Peterson, and there was talk about him losing the locker room, and I don't know much about that. I think the Jaguars played very hard against Houston. I think they played very hard in every game except Buffalo, so the effort's always been there. But they did go out and they got a win on Sunday, Demetrius, against Indianapolis. And in your opinion, man, what did that win do to this team?
No, it's still good. Look, I mean, you can still be positive about the win. You can't have a win and then all of a sudden say, oh, the sky is falling. This is a good thing. And so to be able to go in and play at home and play with your throwbacks, with the Tom Coughlin going into the Pride and on Trevor's birthday, they almost had to win. It was a situation where if they would have lost, then things might have got dicey. So they got the job done, and I think that that's something to look forward to moving forward. It's a situation where, okay, this team can finish. This team does understand what it takes to get it done, particularly on offense. I mean, the way that Trevor had been playing over the first month of the season just wasn't acceptable. It wasn't something up to standards at all for Trevor, for Doug Peterson, for anything. It just wasn't. And so to be able to take a step back, I know they were going up against a beat up Indy defense, and Indy's defense honestly is one that Trevor has always had success against. One that Doug Peterson has always had success against. So it wasn't necessarily surprising, but you still had to see it. And I think that if there's anything that I'll take away from this game, it's okay. Trevor understands. Trevor still is on the path to success, and I do think that he's still going to be a very, very good quarterback, if not a great quarterback, moving forward. But the issue that I have right now is that first 4 games of the season still is there. The struggles that they had on offense is still there. I think that it was solid that they had at least 2 back-to-back reasonably solid games of offense. I know against Houston they weren't able to hit the deep balls, and there were some plays that were left on the field, but you could see all the mechanics and you can see the structure was there. It wasn't just falling apart. So I do think that it's a positive, especially hitting into London against 2 beatable teams. I know that the Bears have been playing well, especially defensively, but they're 2 young beatable teams that they're going to go up against, and I think that that's just a great start to that series, and then maybe moving forward.
Demetrius Harvey of the Florida Times Union, Jacksonville.com. We look for silver linings, right? And in the 1-4 start, one of the silver linings, Demetrius, clearly is Brian Thomas Jr. I mean, you and I have talked for years about wide receiver 1, right? Who is wide receiver 1? If I had a quarter for every time I've had to say that in the last 4 or 5 years, I'd have a lot of quarters. Well, we're 5 games in, but, I mean, I'm ready to call him wide receiver 1 right now. He certainly looks the part.
Absolutely, he does. And I'd be lying if I said that I would have expected him to look this good this soon. During training camp, it's funny. We kind of all said this, I think. During training camp, you're kind of sitting there looking at Brian, and you're like, is he even running full speed? Is he really like getting after it? Like, I mean, it seems like it, but at the same time, it doesn't. I think that we all sort of had that thought at one point. And then I actually listened to a podcast that he was on, and he was talking about how, throughout his whole playing career so far, his whole football life, everyone thought that he wasn't running full speed. It's just the way that he runs. He's the long strider. It kind of perfectly reflected what we've seen over the first 5 games of the season for him. It's been incredible. I think he's averaging 18 yards per reception. He's clearly a reliable target for Trevor Lawrence. He already has 3 touchdowns on the season. It's kind of fascinating. This is something that we thought that last year maybe Calvin Ridley would be for Trevor. He would be a guy that can, pretty much break it wherever he catches the football. And now Calvin had some good games, but I don't think that we've seen the consistency that we saw or that we have seen from Brian from Calvin last year. So yeah, it's been one of the brightest spots on the team. I think that right now it's a slam dunk pick. I mean, the fact that Trent Baalke was able to trade down from 17 to 23 and still land him is very crazy at this point. A guy with his measurables, a guy with his talent usually goes top 5, top 10, and now Jacksonville, I think, has a gem.
Yeah, 397 receiving yards places him in the top 10 for NFL wide receivers 5 games in to the 2024 season. Demetrius, we talk about the year 1 to year 2 jump as well. Tank Bigsby last year was not good, and I think he heard all that criticism this offseason because, good heavens, man, that guy is a beast right now. Those 2 runs for touchdowns on Sunday against Indy were ferocious. I saw he was featured on Good Morning Football earlier today with that 119-yard run where he was just running over people. Tank Bigsby has been absolutely terrific. And I'll be honest with you, I love ETN, but I think it's an and now. I think the running back here in Jacksonville is Travis Etienne and Tank Bigsby. I want to see both guys a lot more.
Yeah, I mean, it can certainly be that way. I mean, look at Detroit. They have Montgomery and Gibbs, that's sort of their duo. I think that can be the situation here in Jacksonville with Travis and Tank. I don't see why not. It is interesting. He definitely heard and saw a lot of what everyone, mostly fans, I'm assuming, said about him last season. He can't play, he's not good, what a waste of a pick, yada, yada, yada. He definitely saw it. These guys are on social media. They have no choice but to see it. Sometimes they get tagged in things, and they're going to look. They're like anybody else. They're curious on what people are saying about them. And so yeah, he has seen that. He has admitted to seeing it, and he uses it as motivation. I think that we've seen over the past 5 games, and especially the last 2 games, he's able to run hard and fast, and it's way better than what I would have thought. And not necessarily because of what we saw last year, but even at Auburn, he was always a bruising back, a bruising kind of back, but he wasn't necessarily fast. He wasn't necessarily somebody that I would say is going to just run away from everyone. But right now, we saw it on Sunday where he just ran right past everybody and into the end zone. And I think that he's just showing more and more each week that he can get the job done. And I think that what they're going to do moving forward is still feature Travis. I think that they value him as a pass catcher. We saw that last Sunday too. He's able to catch passes out of the backfield. They like him to do that more than Tank. And so, Travis is still going to be the featured running back. But yes, I do think that getting Tank more carries, maybe getting him at least 10 carries a game, over the next, however many games there are to sort of see what they can do and what he does for that offense, because keeping him off the field, in my opinion, at this point is doing a disservice to the offense as a whole.
Final moments, Demetrius Harvey of the Florida Times-Union and Jacksonville.com. Trayvon Walker, Demetrius, on Sunday, probably his best game as a Jaguar. You lump a Ventrell Miller in there as well, who has been a very, very good replacement for Foye since Foye left injured. Even though the secondary certainly had their problems, don't get me wrong, in the fourth quarter, a lot of young guys on the defense have emerged as of late.
Yeah, no, it's been interesting to see. I think that obviously Trayvon's explosion this past Sunday was eye-opening. I think that even myself, over the first 4 games of the season, was kind of wondering like where is he going to be? He hasn't necessarily produced. He had the 2 sacks and obviously it's kind of like 1 sack really against Miami, and ever since then there was nothing. And then so to see him this past game, and I think that it's more so the way that he got the sacks too. They were using it wasn't just a bull rush. He was using different moves. He was using some bend, some speed. And then the fact that he was able to close out the first half and the game, that's exactly what you want out of a number 1 pick. And so this could be the breakout season for Trayvon Walker. He's already at 5 sacks on the year. But yeah, seeing some of these guys, Ventrell Miller, for example, just getting in there, playing aggressive, playing physical. I mean, you can tell that he really fits into this Ryan Nielsen scheme, in my opinion. Just a downhill tackler, a guy who can get from point A to point B really fast. I know it's all a bunch of coach speak, but it really is. He sort of epitomizes what it is to be a football player, in my opinion. And so yeah, seeing those kind of guys emerge over the last few weeks, throwing Buster Brown, I know it wasn't necessarily his best game on Sunday, but he's another guy that they have drafted and developed, and he's able to come in, and it's going to be interesting to see what happens when Tyson Campbell comes back, and I think that's a good thing. And so while, I obviously mentioning anything with the secondary after the performance on Sunday is kind of strange, but if you just look into the future projections, I do think that it's going to get better before it gets worse.
Demetrius, as we wrap up, Evan Ingram, Doug Peterson said earlier this week that it looks good, good chance that he might be back against Chicago. What would that do to the Jaguar offense?
Oh yeah, it's going to be great. It's a situation where, we've all seen what Brenton Strange has been able to do, and I think that's been great for him and great for the team to see him sort of impact the game now. But I think Evan Ingram coming back is a whole different monster. I think the red zone issues in particular can be solved a lot if they are able to feature Evan Ingram. I think that's something that we all were sort of looking toward this year, seeing Evan being used in the red zone more. We saw it in the preseason. I know it's preseason, but we saw that they have plans for him. They have, targets for him in that area. And so, yeah, I think that it could be a huge boost to this offense. Look, he had 114 catches last year. That wasn't by accident. I know that catch volume isn't necessarily the end-all be-all for anybody, but for Trevor Lawrence to have that safety valve, to know that Evan's going to be in the right spot every time, I think that's huge.
Demetrius, final question, man. We got about 60 seconds. As bad as the first 4 weeks were, and they were awful, lost every one of them, you look at the AFC playoff picture right now, the 7th seed is 3-2. Everything is in front of the Jaguars, assuming they get some wins. And you mentioned winnable games. Chicago's a good team, but if Jacksonville wants to get back in this thing, this is a game they need to win. And they absolutely have to beat New England. I think anything less than 2-0 in London, Demetrius, would be a disappointment. Do you agree?
Yeah, I completely agree. I've already, basically said it. This is a situation where every game from now on pretty much is must win, especially when you think about the upcoming matchups. This team still has to play the Packers. They still have to play the Vikings. They still have to play the Texans again. To be able to win against two teams that they should beat, that's of the utmost importance if they want to save the season.
Jacksonville.com, Florida Times Union, Demetrius Harvey. Demetrius, tell folks what they can look forward to when you head on over to London.
Yeah, if I'm able to get there, you guys can go ahead and go to Jacksonville.com. Obviously I'm going to have everything up in London time, but at the same time I'll still be producing a bunch of content. Might be talking with Shah Khan. We'll see. And so that will be interesting to see and just look at the future of the franchise.
Demetrius, I know you're busy, man. Safe travels. We'll talk again soon.
All right. I appreciate it, guys.
Someone's going to win a tailgate combo pack from Southern Steer Butcher, valued at $100, and it could be you. Yes! Every month you'll have a shot at a Corona tailgate tent with a cooler, chair, and a collectible football. It's the ultimate tailgate. Enter at 1010XL.com.
This is Nia Lauren Stample, former Florida State national champion and the proud owner of NLS Cleaning. Just like on the gridiron, we tackle dirt and grime with unmatched precision. Whether it's your commercial property or your residential space, we are ready to take care of your exterior cleaning needs. NLScleaning.net.
I'm here with Danny Van Sickle, director of the Electrical Training Alliance. Danny, tell me about your program.
Hey, Rick, we're a 5-year electrical apprenticeship. Our students start out making over $40,000 a year, and right now graduate making over $90,000 a year, including benefits. There is no tuition or no student debt. You just have to apply and get accepted.
Did you say no tuition and no student debt?
You heard that right, Rick. Once you're accepted to the program, your only cost are the books and the course fees. About $800 a year.
That sounds like an amazing opportunity. How can I learn more?
Just go to etajax.org, and you can apply there.
Apply by November 7th.
The Jaguars are back at Everbank Stadium to go head-to-head with the Green Bay Packers for our crucial catch game. Join us October 27th as we fight cancer through early detection, risk reduction, and awareness all game long. Lock in your tickets now by visiting jaguars.com/tickets or call 904-633-2000. We'll see you there.
Attention veterans, the Fed has done it. They've lowered interest rates, the moment we've all been waiting for. And at Loan Pronto, they've lowered mortgage rates along with it. It's Prosser here for my friends at Loan Pronto. Listen, if you're a veteran with a current mortgage rate over 6%, Loan Pronto can do a streamlined refi, lowering your monthly payment with no income verification and no appraisal. Veterans can now access up to 100% of their home's equity and turn that into cash. You can get 50, 75, even 100 grand or more with no junk fees and no hassle with an APR in the low fives. So you can pay off all those credit cards, personal loans, and car loans. Veterans typically cut their monthly payments by $850. At Loan Pronto, they respect what you've done for our country, and we show it. Call now for a free rate quote with no credit pull. 904-999-1508. That's 904-999-1508 or loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781.
It's about the hunt.
Captain Kevin Favor here with Captain Kirk and Jeff Lagerman. We take you from the water to the woods.
On the Nimnicht Outdoors Show. Presented by Duck Rooter Plumbing, Septic, and Air Conditioning.
Let's go to the woods, y'all.
Saturday mornings from 7 to 10 on 1010XL.
In life, there are times to count your losses, times to be the better person, times to walk away. But if you've been injured by no fault of your own, it's time to fight. Call me, Eddie Farah, at 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Hi, this is Dave Barker. Multi-unit hair grafting is now available at IHRS and can give you 3 times more hair in one procedure over a traditional hair transplant.
Multi-unit hair grafting gave me more hair in one procedure and within my budget.
You can grow your hair back with this exclusive new procedure. Call for a free evaluation. Call IHRS 904-777-IHRS 777-IHRS 777-4477.
Make a crucial catch against colon cancer. Hicken here for the Borland Groover Foundation. If you're 45 or older, the ball is in the red zone to get screened. The key to surviving colon cancer, early detection and prevention. 45 is the new 50. Get screened for colon cancer now. The Borland Groover Foundation is a nonprofit organization devoted to building a healthy and equitable community that is free from colon cancer. Visit BorlandGrooverFoundation.com for more.
Stuck on what to do with a plumbing issue? Just call the Duck. Duck Rooter are experts at plumbing and are a 5-star Google-rated company. You name it, they do it. Water heater replacements to sewer drain cleaning, leaks to repipes. Fully licensed and insured with highly trained technicians. Trust the Duck to fix it right. Duck Rooter Plumbing and Septic Services.
When you're stuck, call the Duck. 904-862-6769.
Here's your 1010XL First Coast Community Calendar.
Help make Jacksonville safer and play a round of golf at the First Coast Crime Stoppers Golf Tournament, October 21st at Amelia River Club.
Thousands of people in Duval County suffer from Alzheimer's. To join the Walk to End Alzheimer's at UNF, November 9th, visit alz.org/Jacksonville Walk.
If you're a dog lover who wants to help animals, our furry friends need exercise and time out of their kennels. You can make a difference in a dog's life at volunteer@jaxhumane.org.
You can make a difference in the lives of people living with lung cancer. To join the American Lung Association at the Lung Force Walk at UNF November 16th, log on to lungforce.org/Jacksonville.
Builders Care is looking for volunteers, and there are so many ways you can help. Find out how at builderscare.org.
You can find out how to share your community event at 1010XL.com. Time now for a medical recap. A health and wellness tip from Jaguars head team physician, Dr. Kevin Kaplan.
Rotator cuff tears are the most common overhead injuries I see. In order to avoid shoulder issues, make sure not to overload the front of the shoulder while also focusing on developing good scapular strength and maintaining flexibility in your lats. Proper hydration, nutrition, and supplementation are also crucial to joint and muscle health. Go Jag.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Hacker After Dark on 1010XL.
Yes, it is. We're less than 10 minutes away. Justin Mello of the Draft Network will stop by. I want to talk to Justin about the Jaguars. He also covers the Tennessee Titans, so we'll do a little AFC South talk with him as well. Boy, Tennessee and Indianapolis play on Sunday. Wouldn't that be nice if Jacksonville can beat Chicago Sunday morning? That game will end about 12:30 in the afternoon. Then you settle in to watch Indianapolis, Tennessee. Whoever loses that game would then also have 4 losses, right? So Jacksonville beats Chicago. They will be tied in the loss column with either the Colts or the Titans by the end of Sunday. Again, the Jaguars have the potential to get back into this thing pretty quickly, at least for a wild card. They just have to win some games. But I'm going to talk to Justin Mello about the Jags, about the AFC South, but I really want to talk to Justin about the young Jaguars. You think of the guys that made huge plays on Sunday that are either in their first, second, or third year. From Trayvon Walker, third year. Ventrell Miller, second year. Anton Harrison, second year. Tank Bigsby, second year. Right? Brenton Strange, second year. Brian Thomas Jr. is a rookie. Cam Little's a rookie. And every one of those guys was vital, absolutely vital, into the Jaguars knocking off the Indianapolis Colts. So we'll talk with Justin Mello of the Draft Network coming up in just a bit. Jaguars and the Bears Sunday in London. Of course, the NFL slate gets underway week number 6 on Thursday night. By the way, college football, we're into that MACtion. We're into that time of year where games are taking place every weeknight for the next 50-some-odd days. Liberty and FIU tonight. Liberty, I believe, is still undefeated. They lead FIU 17-10 going in to the fourth quarter. But let's talk Jags. Let's talk AFC South and more. Justin Mello of the Draft Network is next on a Tuesday evening right here on Hacker After Dark.
He's fearless in the face of danger when entering enemy territory.
What is your mission?
Get insights and interviews from Jags beat reporter Hayes Carline when he takes you behind enemy lines. Brought to you by Pella Windows and Doors on 1010XL.
Here's Linda Beaver.
Let's start the debate. Why would someone buy a new car from you? We have an exclusive 20-year, 200,000-mile warranty on every new vehicle. We offer a competitive wow price plus free oil changes. How much will someone get for their trade? We offer more than $4,000 over KBV value. Well, we never lose a trade over price. Okay, when is the best time to buy a car? Right now. Ladies and gentlemen, it doesn't matter which side you pick. At Beaver Toyota and Beaver Chevrolet, you get it all. Let us show you why we're the winning vote.
Baloo for Shinatri Chiropractic. They've helped me get rid of my headaches and pain in my neck and back. Are you suffering from an auto accident? What about TMJ pain? Headaches associated with jaw clenching, grinding of the teeth, or stress-related disorders? Shinatri Chiropractic has a physical therapist on staff for rehabilitation, quality chiropractic care, dry needling, massage, and acupuncture. Call 743-6700 or go to ShinatriDC.com.
Hey, gang, Prosser here to save you some cash. Maximize your home sale now with the market experts who deliver more money in less time, and those experts are Chad and Sandy Newman. Maybe you're worried about costly repairs or upgrades needed to sell your home. You don't have to worry. The worries are relieved with Chad and Sandy, the local real estate experts we are trusting and recommending with the sale of your home. Chad and Sandy guarantee your home sold at an agreed-upon price and deadline, or they will buy it. Mortgage rates are down. It's time to create your market. Marvin in Cobblestone writes, my siblings and I moved our parents to Maryland so they can get some extra help as they get older. Next, we had to sell the home to get them some financial help for their extra care. We hired Chad and Sandy, and they delivered big. Chad and Sandy's team got our home sold in 7 days above asking price. You can too. Call Chad and Sandy today, 904-414-6200, or go to chadandsandy.com. That's Chad, ANDSANDY.com.
57% of the Boys and Girls Clubs of Northeast Florida alumni say the club saved their lives. The Boys and Girls Clubs of Northeast Florida support over 5,000 local youths each day. Help support this work and have some fun at the same time. Join us at the Beaches Barbecue Bash, Monday, October 28th at ABBQ Atlantic Beach for barbecue, great beverages, live music, and an auction to positively impact our youth each day. Learn more at bgcnf.org/events.
It's the Gator Podcast Channel with Frank Frangie and me, Dan Hicken, on all things Gators. Hacker and Denny Thompson have Gator Bites, and you can find them wherever you find podcasts or at 1010XL.com. Presented by Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
Dive into Beyond Triathlon, an inspiring documentary with stories of women in sports, featuring Jacksonville's Dottie Dorian, Mayor Donna Deegan, and three-time Olympic gold medalist Nancy Hogshead at the Lazara Performance Hall at UNF this Saturday, October 12th. After, Bacardi invites you to celebrate with a triumphant Toast to Excellence reception. Golden and silver levels get an exclusive custom blended bottle of rum. Get tickets starting at $10 at BeyondTriathlon.com. Proceeds benefit scholarships for female athletes.
Find your why with membership at the First Coast YMCA. The Y has something for everyone at any age. Come try free access to your local Y every Wellness Wednesday this month. Check out our fitness classes, swimming, pickleball, youth sports, and so much more for free every Wednesday in October. Plus, we'll waive the join fee when you become a member this month. Get active, be social, live healthier, and discover all the benefits of YMCA membership at your local Y or visit fcymca.org.
I'm Taylor Rose with our Remedy Staffing Westside office off of Normandy Boulevard. We are helping great people find great jobs. Remedy has helped some of the best employers in Jacksonville find talented job seekers like you for over 25 years. Our current job openings range from entry-level distribution center pickers to equipment operators. Apply today at remedygoodjobs.com. Don't wait. Apply at remedygoodjobs.com now.
SportsForecaster.com has all the data you need to project tomorrow's winners. Register for free and track the performance of all your favorite players and teams, including all your fantasy team picks and prospects. Sports Forecaster has the most detailed player profiles on the web, precise depth charts, every transaction, every injury, every news update. No ranting or raving, no preening or barstool bluster. At SportsForecaster.com, you get the timely info you need for every game. SportsForecaster.com. Sign up for free today.
Here's your 1010XL First Coast Community Calendar.
Watch top local fighters in the Police Athletic League's Boxing Championships, October 26th. Find out more at jaxpal.org.
Thousands of people in Duval County suffer from Alzheimer's. To join the Walk to End Alzheimer's at UNF, November 9th, visit alz.org/Jacksonville Walk.
You can make a difference in the lives of people living with lung cancer. To join the American Lung Association at the Lung Force Walk at UNF November 16th, log on to lungforce.org/Jacksonville.
Pace Center for Young Teen Girls has been helping local girls realize and fulfill their individual potential year-round since 1985. To see how you can help change a young girl's life in your community, visit pacecenter.org.
City Rescue Mission provides life-changing support for the homeless. Find ways to get involved at crmjax.org.
You can find out how to share your community event at 1010XL.com. 1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Now, another great guest on the Garber Auto Mall phone line.
Hello.
We can wiggle it.
Back here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM in the city of Jacksonville, we are glad you are with us. The Jaguars and the Bears, Sunday, 9:30 in the morning over in London. Chicago now 3-2. The Jaguars come in at 1-4, but they finally got off the mat. Their first win of the year last Sunday over the Indianapolis Colts. Justin Mello does a great job for the Draft Network. He's got a brand new book out, as he is the author of Titans of the South. We'll talk about that. And Justin does a great job covering the AFC South, and he's always kind enough to join us here on 1010XL. Justin, how we doing?
I'm doing well, Ryan. Exciting Sunday, Week 5 action. Titans were off, of course, but Jacksonville will get their first win of the season over a divisional rival in the Indianapolis Colts. It was an exciting weekend of football.
I want to talk Jaguars. I want to talk AFC South. But first and foremost, congratulations on the book. Again, Titans of the South by Justin Mello. Tell us about it and where people can find it.
Thank you so much. Yeah, Titans of the South, history and photographs of the Tennessee Titans. It covers the entire history since their inception in 1960. So going all the way back to the Houston Oilers, the Adams family, and the AFL days. It's season-by-season recaps. That's 63 seasons in franchise history from 60 to 2023. Yearly depth charts, Pro Bowl selections, all-decade teams for every single decade, stats, schedules, lineups. A little bit of Jacksonville history in there as well, obviously, with with their inaugural season and how that impacted the division and eventually the AFC South. So some good Jacksonville history in there as well. It's available now where all books are sold. Titans of the South, Amazon, Barnes & Noble, wherever you buy books.
Justin Mello of the Draft Network. All right, Justin, I said last night on the postgame show down here that we owe the Titans a thank you. And the reason we owe the Titans a thank you, nothing against Calvin Ridley, nothing against him personally, but because Tennessee swooped in, or whatever verbiage you want to use, in the 11th hour and gave Calvin Ridley $92 million, he leaves. The Jaguars have a void that needs to be filled, and they go to Baton Rouge, Louisiana, and they draft a young man named Brian Thomas Jr. And goodness gracious, Justin, if it doesn't look like this guy is going to be a flat-out stud for years to come.
He's been outstanding, and I think he's been ahead of where people thought he was going to be. I mean, I think Jacksonville would even admit that he's been ahead of where they thought he was going to be, right? Like, the knock on him coming out was, he might be a bit of a one-trick pony. He's a vertical guy, big-bodied, runs in a straight line. Well, if you're watching Jacksonville on Sundays, break down the all-22 like I have, he's a three-level route runner. Like, he's making plays at every level, short, intermediate, deep. We've seen the yard-after-catch ability, obviously, with the long scores. He had 8 targets on Sunday. That is how many Gabe Davis and Christian Kirk had combined. Like, I wrote an article a couple weeks ago for the Draft Network saying this guy's establishing himself as the wide receiver 2, firmly ahead of Davis. Who, remember, what did they give, like $10 to $12 million a year, 3-year contract in free agency? He's establishing himself as the wide receiver 2 ahead of him. If I were to write that article today, I might go even further and say this guy might be the wide receiver 1. Like, you've seen Trevor Lawrence's comfort level with him. Again, a team-high 8 targets yesterday. The running back, I believe it was Etienne, was the only guy that came close to that many targets, with a guy like Christian Kirk and Gabe Davis only having 4 apiece. So he's been extremely impressive, and he's already looking like Trevor Lawrence's go-to target.
He is, and the fact that he lasted till number 23 in the draft, I mean, people forget the Jaguars traded back, picked up an extra 3rd and a 4th from Minnesota in the 25 draft, and still were able to take Brian Thomas with that 23rd selection. So that looks like an absolute steal. Again, Justin Mello of the Draft Network here with us. And it wasn't just Brian Thomas, Justin. There were a lot of young guys. Let's go to Tank Bigsby next. He's phenomenal. You talk about the year 1 to year 2 jump. Tank Bigsby has been terrific in the first 5 games for the Jaguars this year.
He sure has, and I'll be honest with you, it's not a development that I saw coming. I think Travis, I thought had a stranglehold on that job going into this season, but it's a reminder, a harsh reminder, this is a year-to-year league. What have you done for me lately? And I think it's almost an indisputable fact at this point that the offense has looked better, has been more productive with Tank Bigsby in the lineup as opposed to Etienne. So, no doubt about it, this guy looks great. 2 touchdowns on Sunday, I believe it was. The yards per carry was out of this world. Like, he's been extremely effective, and he's super productive every time he touches the football. So I imagine we're going to continue seeing a fairly even split here in the backfield as head coach Doug Peterson continues to put more responsibility on the shoulders of his sophomore back.
Yeah, this is not an anti-Travis Etienne sentiment. I like him a lot. To me, it's I want the running back position to be Travis Etienne and Tank Bigsby. Think of like David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs in Detroit. I want kind of a 50-50 deal. Because I got to tell you, Justin, one of the things the Jaguars did with Etienne that I really liked on Sunday was using him out of the backfield, getting him involved in the passing game. Now, you get Etienne out on the perimeter and get the ball in his hands and space, well, then he's a serious, serious problem. And I think we're going to see more of that moving forward.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I love what you said there, right? It doesn't have to be one or the other. It's going to be an and situation. And with Trevor Lawrence, I think, maybe not playing the best football of his career so far, early season on, I think we all agree on that. The offensive line has had its struggles in spots. Making this an and situation, it's only going to take pressure, right? Takes pressure off the quarterback, takes pressure off the offensive line, takes pressure off the drop-back passing game. Every offensive lineman I've ever spoken to will tell you, we don't like getting behind the sticks, right? We don't want to get into second and long, third and long situations. That's when the defense pins their ears back and rushes the quarterback. We don't want that, right? So having both of these guys making impactful plays, certainly with ETN being the better pass catcher of the two. Again, I think it was 7 targets on Sunday. There's certainly a role for him. And obviously, Bigsby has played himself into a role. It's a great problem to have, right? It's a first-world problem to have. That's only going to take pressure off your young quarterback and your offensive line.
Couple of more for Justin Mello of the Draft Network. To the defensive side of the ball, Justin, 3 sacks for Trayvon Walker on Sunday. Was that his best game as a Jaguar?
I think it probably was, yeah. I noticed early on this season, they might never get past the Aiden Hutchinson discussion. It is what it is, but you can't turn the clock back, and you've got to live with the decision you made, and you've got to develop the players on your roster. I feel like I've seen it pop up a lot this year. Aiden Hutchinson was, leading the league in sacks, pressures, all that stuff. You got to work with the guy you have, and I think Trayvon Walker showed on Sunday. There's still a lot of untapped potential. This is not a complete story. The book is not fully written. 3 sacks. I believe one of them was a strip sack right near the end of the half, if I'm recalling correctly. He would have an outstanding game, one of the best games he's played as a pro. We knew coming in, there was some raw upside there, some athleticism that perhaps, could be tapped into. I certainly think he was a difference maker. You win the game by a few points. I promise you, the guy that came up with 3 sacks played a big role in it.
Another young defensive guy that I remember you talked to a couple of times leading into the 23 draft was Ventrell Miller. And Ventrell Miller missed his rookie season with the Achilles injury. We wondered how he'd respond to that. Oluwakin gets hurt. Ventrell Miller is inserted into the lineup. Justin, he's been nothing short of terrific the last 2 games. It's a small sample size. We'll see if it continues. But 51 for the Jaguars is everywhere on that field the last couple of Sundays.
Well, you knew, based on our prior conversations, and I thought he had that upside, right? And all you can do is maximize your opportunity when it comes. And he had an opportunity, as you said, with the number 1 linebacker there going on IR with injury. You got a guy like Chad Muma who hasn't quite lived up to the pre-draft billing. A guy like Ventrell Miller outperforming him in practice, yada, yada, yada. Gets inserted to the lineup, is going to, earns himself an opportunity, and he's run with it so far. I thought he was really good on Sunday. Thought he was great the week before, like you said. So they found good value when they took him. He had the injury. He was unfortunate, missed his rookie year. They didn't quit on his development, and he didn't quit on himself. Right? He's come back this year. He's earned a role first as a rotational guy. This is football, 100% guaranteed injury rate, right? He gets a chance to go into the lineup. He's playing lights-out football right now.
Justin, in the time we have left, let's look around the division a little bit. Does Tennessee have a Will Levis problem?
They might, yeah. I think they have to keep finding out whether they do or they don't. Certainly, the early season results have not been good. They have not been what they anticipated and expected, right? Context, head coach Brian Callahan, he flat out told people after Monday there is no quarterback controversy. He is our starting quarterback 100% when he's healthy, and he's going to be. He's going to play Sunday against the Indianapolis Colts. That's all indication. But certainly the turnovers, they've got to be cut out, right? Entering week 5, a league-high 9 turnovers, all of them committed by himself. Ton of interceptions, ton of lost fumbles. Again, a lot of them at the blame at his feet, most of them. Certainly the pick 6 against the Bears, the boneheaded lateral against the Jets. He had a pick 6 against the Packers, and then another interception against the Dolphins before he got hurt and left the game. He's got to be better, but they're going to be patient. He's a sophomore. He's 13th career start was on Monday against the Dolphins, the game he got hurt. Not a guy that's played a lot of football. They believe in the talent around him, certainly that wide receiver room, the offensive-minded head coach they hired to help develop him. They're going to keep giving him a chance, but certainly at some point he's got to start showing them real progress.
You mentioned Indianapolis. They go to Nashville. Big game in the AFC South on Sunday. Particularly from a Jaguar point of view, if Jacksonville beats Chicago Sunday morning, whoever loses Tennessee and Indy will join Jacksonville in the 4-loss club. So, again, Jacksonville not maybe as far out of this as some people would have thought. They got to have baby steps to work their way back up. But back to the game in Nashville, Indianapolis, Justin, they're better with Joe Flacco. I'm sorry. And I get the politics involved with drafting a top 5 quarterback, and Flacco's 93 years old, and I get what the future is in Indy. But for 2024, to win the game in Nashville on Sunday, you can't tell me they don't have a better shot with Joe Flacco than Anthony Richardson.
Well, it's funny. Wouldn't you say the same thing about Tennessee, that they might have a better shot with Mason Rudolph in there instead of Will Levis after the offense looked better than it has all year in Miami? And granted, they ran the ball a lot in that game after Levis got hurt. And Rudolph only dropped back 17 times, but he protected the ball. It's the exact same. They're both in the exact same situation. So while it probably should be Joe Flacco versus Mason Rudolph, if you want to win that game, it's going to be Anthony Richardson versus Will Levis. And it should be, because both of these franchises, they're in positions where those guys in front of them, they know they're not the long-term answer in terms of the veteran quarterback, and they've got to find out if their young quarterback is the answer. With Tennessee, they're still finding out, of course. I would say Indianapolis is too, right? Richardson's had already a lengthy injury history for the short amount of time that he's been in the league, and this year he has struggled with some of those underneath throws. He's throwing 70-yard bombs, and then he's throwing an interception 5 yards down the field to a defender right in front of him. Right, so both of them, I think, are very early in their stages of development. Neither of them are giving their team the best chance to win based on the quarterbacks that are currently on the roster. But both of these teams, they've got to find out about these guys.
Final moments, Justin Mello of the Draft Network. All right, Justin, the Jaguars play the number 1 pick in the draft, Caleb Williams and Chicago. Chicago feeling pretty good about themselves, right? 3-2, coming off a beating that they gave to the Carolina Panthers on Sunday. Your thoughts on Caleb Williams, and just an outside perspective here, it appears when Caleb Williams has time, he looks very good. It appears when he gets frazzled and his offensive line isn't blocking very well, he looks like a rookie. So not that I'm, the Nostradamus of football here, but Jacksonville, if they get pressure on him, they could make him, make some mistakes on Sunday in London.
Yeah, he was incredible in the win against Carolina, the blowout win. I actually wrote an article on it this morning, took a deep dive, watched the tape, looked at the advanced metrics. He was one of the slowest quarterbacks to throw on Sunday, by the way, almost 3 seconds, almost a full 3 seconds. Borderline eternity in an NFL pocket. So you're correct. That O-line gave him time, a lot of time. He was outstanding. Now, he's 20 of 29, 300-something yards, 2 touchdowns, no turnovers for a second straight week, by the way, a passer rating over 100 for a second straight week, and the passer rating's gotten better every single week. I don't think that's coincidence. I think that's a young, talented quarterback that is showing in-season progress. That's exactly what you want him to show. He was very, very good on Sunday. Again, is that a product of the Bears' offensive line? Might be a product of an anemic pass rush in Carolina. I think both of those things could be true, but certainly Jacksonville's going to want to ruffle his feathers, get to him early, because if it's anything like it was Sunday and Carolina wasn't getting home at all, you saw a young quarterback kind of get into his comfort zone. I mean, that second touchdown he threw, he looks off the safety. He looks off the safety, crashes down middle of the field. He hits DJ Moore on the outside, one-on-one opportunity. Like, this is high-level quarterback play right now. The Jaguars got to do their best they can to get under his skin.
Jaguars and the Bears, Sunday, 9:30. You'll hear the game right here on 1010XL Radio. Justin Mello of the Draft Network. Justin, tell us once again about the book, where they can find it, and what they can look forward to.
Yeah, Titans of the South, History and Photographs of the Tennessee Titans is on sale now. It's available where all books are sold, Amazon, Barnes & Noble, you name it. Covers the entire history of the Tennessee Titans franchise, dating back to the AFL, the Houston Oilers. It starts at 1960, progresses all the way to 2023. So including the move, including the shaping of the AFC South and how we know it today. I think if you're a fan of the division, you'll certainly appreciate it. Titans of the South out now.
Justin, always appreciate the time. Know you're busy. Thank you for taking time out for us, my friend.
Pleasure was all mine. You know where to find me.
Now, the Cool Down with Donovan Air Electric and Plumbing, keeping Jack's cool since 1987.
And thank you to Justin Mello of the Draft Network for joining us tonight here on Hacker After Dark as the Jaguars and the Bears get ready to go at each other on Sunday. The Bears are actually already over in London. The Jaguars won't leave until Thursday evening. The Jaguars are back on the practice field tomorrow at the Miller Electric Center to get ready for a game on Sunday. It's a big game. I mean, if you win, if you're Jacksonville, All right, 2-4. Playing a New England team that might be playing a very, very young quarterback making his first or second career start. If you lose 1-5, I mean, it's a big one for Jacksonville. And for Chicago, look, they're feeling pretty good. They're 3-2, coming off a big victory over Carolina. We'll see. But certainly a lot will be on the line Sunday in London. You'll hear the game right here on 1010XL. As you do every Jaguar game, the home here of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Well, that'll just about do it. We spent a lot of time on the Jaguars tonight. Also spent a lot of time on college football. Hey, say what you will about Billy Napier, man. I know a lot of you have. 2 good wins for Florida back-to-back at Mississippi State and against UCF. Florida sits at 3-2 on the year. They are big underdogs going to Tennessee. The gauntlet kind of starts, right? Tennessee, Kentucky, and then, of course, Georgia and Texas and Ole Miss and LSU and Florida State. I mean, we know what's ahead of them, but at 1-2, it would have been very easy to not listen and to break the locker room apart and fire the coach, and that's what a lot of people wanted, the coach to be gone. Well, they have won 2 in a row, and they go to Neyland now at 3-2, and I don't expect this to happen, but play along with me here. What if on a Saturday night in Knoxville, Tennessee, Florida goes up there and wins? Have we even thought about that? Has that even gone across our mind whatsoever? Just something to think about. Do I expect it to happen? No, but what if it happens? How the narrative on Billy Napier would be drastically different come Sunday morning. Well, that'll just about do it. It's been a very busy Tuesday night edition of Hacker After Dark. We certainly appreciate you guys hanging out with us here on 1010XL and on 92.5 FM. We have a ton of people to thank. Again, Justin Mello of the Draft Network. Appreciate Justin stopping by. Thank you to Demetrius Harvey of the Florida Times Union and Jacksonville.com. Always enjoy talking Jaguar football with Demetrius. And Barrett Sallee of the College Football Smothered and Covered podcast. You also hear him on Sirius XM. One of my favorites to talk college ball with, and appreciate Barrett taking time out for us here on Hacker After Dark. We will be back tomorrow night on a Wednesday, and we will do it all over again beginning at 8 o'clock. Dylan Denmark was your producer tonight. Dylan, great job as always. I'm the Hacker Ryan Green. And again, Jacksonville, thank you for spending part of your Tuesday evening with us right here on Hacker After Dark on 1010XL and on 92.